The screen opens on a wide, sun-drenched prairie. A lone figure on horseback, California Leb, rides with a quiet, weary determination. He is a man hardened by years of honest labor. His face weathered, but his eyes still hold a spark of decency. He is in search of a new start, a small piece of land to call his own, and has been told of a small settlement nearby. He guides his horse towards the distant roofs of a modest farm, a place that seems to promise the simple, peaceful life he craves. But as he gets closer, he notices a subtle tension in the air. The usual sounds of a working farm, the lowing of cattle, the chatter of children, are replaced by an unsettling quiet. He dismounts at the edge of the property, tying his horse to a post. The air is heavy, with a palpable sense of unease. He sees a small group of people gathered in the yard, their backs to him. In the center of the circle, a man with a heavy frame and a cruel, unforgiving face, Eliza's Brother-in-law, is speaking in a loud, aggressive tone. His words carry on the wind, sharp and biting. Caleb stays in the shadows, an unseen witness. Brother-in-law, scoffing loudly. A daughter, another one. You're a stain on this family's name, Eliza. 2 girls and not a single son to show for it. The words are a physical blow. The brother-in-law turns his attention to an older, frail woman. Beside him, the Motherinlaw, who looks on with a cold, judgmental expression. Brother-in-law, mother here is right. The bloodline is dying with you. You're worthless. A curse on this house. Eliza, standing in the middle of the yard. She is thin, exhausted, her face a mask of silent despair. She holds a tiny, bundled infant close to her chest, trying to shield the baby from the verbal assault. A small girl, no more than 3 or 4 years old, stands beside her, clutching her skirt with a terrified grip. Eliza's eyes, filled with a deep, hopeless pain, refuse to meet her tormentor's gaze. Her silence is not defiance, but the quiet resignation of a soul long broken. The brother-in-law, emboldened by her silence, takes a step closer, his voice dropping to a menacing hiss. The onlookers, mostly neighbors and family, do nothing, their silence a chilling endorsement of the abuse. Caleb's fists clench at his sides, his jaw tightening as he watches the scene unfold. His initial desire for peace and solitude is replaced by a burning, righteous fury. He sees not just a woman being shamed, but an injustice so profound it demands a response. Brother-in-law, you hear me, Eliza. You've brought shame to this family for the last time. A good-for-nothing barren woman is worth more than you and your weak blood. Get in the house, before I give you a real reason to cry. He raises his hand, not to hit her, but to shove her, to physically drive her away. The blow is not aimed at her body, but at her dignity. Eliza flinches, her body curling protectively around her children, her shoulders hunched in anticipation. The small girl beside her lets out a tiny, frightened whimper. A flash of red-hot anger consumes Caleb. He has seen enough. He takes a step forward, a man ready to break his own peace for the sake of a stranger. The act ends with the camera on Caleb's face, his eyes fixed on the scene, a storm of righteous fury brewing within them. The audience knows he is about to intervene, but the screen cuts to black before he does. Caleb steps out of the shadows, his presence a sudden, imposing force in the tense, silent yard. His boots crunch on the dry earth, the sound a sharp crack that draws all eyes. He walks directly towards Eliza and her tormentor, his gaze fixed and cold. The brother-in-law, in the middle of his cruel tirade, stops mid-sentence, his hands still in the air. He looks at Caleb with a mix of surprise and irritation, as if a wild animal has just wandered into his yard. The onlookers shift uneasily, their silent complicity now confronted by a new, unknown threat. Caleb moves with a quiet, deliberate power, his every step a challenge. He stops an arm's length from the brother-in-law, his tall frame blocking the other man's view of Eliza. Caleb doesn't speak. He simply stands there, a solid wall of righteous fury, his eyes holding a promise of swift, final violence if provoked. The brother-in-law, a bully used to easy targets, tries to regain control, his bravado returning. Brother-in-law, who in the hell are you? This is family business. Mind your own damn. He trails off as Caleb's hand, a massive, scarred thing, closes around his wrist. not in a grip of pain, but of absolute, unyielding authority. The brother-in-law's face pales, the blood draining from his features. The unspoken threat is clear: you're not in charge here anymore. Caleb. His voice is low, calm, and utterly final. This isn't family business. This is cruelty. He releases the man's wrist, then turns his back on him, a gesture of profound dismissal. He looks at Eliza. Her eyes are wide with shock, her body still curled protectively around her children. She doesn't understand what is happening, but for the first time in a long time, she feels the shield of another's strength. Caleb's gaze softens slightly, a silent reassurance in the middle of the chaos. He reaches out a hand, not to touch her, but to offer a choice, an escape. Caleb. His voice loud enough for everyone to hear. She's done here. You won't touch them again. He turns his attention back to the brother-in-law and the stunned mother-in-law. Caleb. They're coming with me. The declaration hangs in the air, a final, non-negotiable sentence. The mother-in-law splutters, but the brother-in-law, defeated by Caleb's unwavering authority, knows he has been bested. He stands frozen, the shame of his public defeat a bitter taste in his mouth. The onlookers remain in a stunned silence, watching a man do what none of them had the courage to do. Eliza, still in a daze, takes a hesitant step forward. She looks at Caleb's hand, then at his face, seeing not just a protector, but a promise of a new life. Caleb gently takes her arm, guiding her and the two children toward his horse. He helps her mount, placing the small, bundled infants safely in her arms. He then climbs onto the horse behind her, taking the reins. He gives the brother-in-law one final, cold stare, a silent promise of consequences if they dare follow. The horse turns and walks away from the homestead, leaving behind a crowd of stunned faces, shattered silence, and a life of torment. The act ends with Caleb, Eliza, and the children riding away into the vast open prairie, an unlikely family bound by an act of quiet defiance. The ride to Caleb's ranch is a journey through a vast, silent ocean of grass and sky. The sun dips towards the horizon, casting long, golden shadows across the prairie. Eliza rides in front, cradling her twin daughters, her body rigid and unyielding. She is silent, her eyes fixed on the path ahead, her mind still replaying the brutal scene she has just escaped. Caleb rides behind her, a protective shadow. He says nothing, allowing the silence to be a space for her to breathe, to begin to process the impossible events of the day. The only sound is the steady rhythm of the horse's hooves and the gentle rustle of the wind through the tall grass. It is not an uncomfortable silence, but a profound and necessary one. As twilight deepens, the ranch appears on the horizon. It is a humble homestead, nestled in the protective curve of a low hill. The house is small and sturdy, built of timber and fieldstone, with a thick plume of smoke rising from its chimney, a sign of warmth and life. There is a barn, a corral, and a small vegetable patch. The place exudes a deep sense of solitude and self-sufficiency. It is the home of a man who has chosen to be alone. As they draw closer, Eliza's wariness returns. This is a safe place, yes, but it is also a strange place, a place belonging to a stranger. They dismount in the yard. Caleb helps Eliza down from the horse, his touch firm but impersonal. He guides her to the house, holding the door open for her. The interior is clean, orderly, and deeply masculine. A large stone fireplace dominates the main room, a warm fire glowing within. The furniture is simple, functional, made of heavy wood. There is no clutter, no adornment, just the bare necessities of a man living alone. The air smells of wood smoke, coffee, and fresh-cut lumber. To Eliza, who has lived her entire life in a house filled with tension and anger, this quiet emptiness is both a relief and a new kind of fear. Caleb does not press her. He walks to the fireplace, adding another log to the fire, his movements slow and deliberate. He then points to a small, private room at the end of the hall. It is a spare bedroom, the bed freshly made with a clean, rough-spun quilt. There is a basin of fresh water and a clean towel on a small table. He provides for her needs without a single word. He then leaves the room, giving her a private space. Eliza stands in the middle of the room, still holding her babies, her body hunched and tense. She looks around the empty room, her eyes wide with a deep-seated fear. The silence, so comforting outside, now feels immense and overwhelming inside these new walls. She clutches her babies tightly, a protective instinct born of years of being told they were worthless. Caleb returns to the main room. He prepares a simple meal of stew and fresh bread. He places 2 bowls on the table, a steaming cup of tea beside one for her. He then stands by the fireplace, his back to her, giving her a chance to eat without being watched. He speaks only once. "Caleb," his voice is low, gentle. "The food is on the table. Eat. The fire will keep you warm." He says no more. He waits. He allows her the space to exist without his presence, his large frame a quiet testament to her safety. Eliza, still in her room, hears the sound of his movements, the soft crackle of the fire. She is safe, she knows this. But the trauma of her past life, the ingrained fear of a new powerful man, still holds her captive. The act ends with her still in her room, a prisoner of her own fear, looking out at the new, quiet world she has been brought into, wondering what will become of them all. The days settle into a quiet routine at the ranch. The silence is no longer an empty void, but a shared space of 2 people living parallel lives. Eliza remains a prisoner of her own trauma, rarely leaving the small bedroom. But she watches. She watches from the window as Caleb works the land, his movements strong and purposeful. She sees that his presence is not a threat, but a constant, sturdy promise of safety. The twin girls, still nameless, stir and cry, their tiny whimpers the only other sound besides the wind. She holds them tight, her protective instincts a fragile shield against the world. One afternoon, the younger twin, her small face red with distress, begins to wail inconsolably. Eliza tries to soothe her, but the baby's cries grow louder. Exhausted, and feeling a deep sense of helplessness, Eliza sits on the floor, rocking the child, but the wails continue. She is a woman on the verge of breaking. Caleb, from the main room, hears the distress. He hesitates, his natural instinct to give her space at odds with his need to help. He finally moves, his large frame filling the doorway. He doesn't speak. He simply kneels down across from her, his presence a calm anchor in the storm of the baby's cries. He reaches out a hand, not to take the baby, but to point to the cradle. Eliza, her mind clouded by exhaustion, doesn't understand. He then points to the cradle again, more insistently. He sees the baby's distress is not just a need to be held, but a need for a specific kind of soothing. Caleb takes a step back and retrieves a small leather pouch from his bag. He opens it to reveal a small, polished stone. He walks over to the cradle, and to Eliza's astonishment, begins to rub the stone against the wooden frame. It creates a low, resonant hum, a soothing vibration. He continues to rub the stone, his large hand moving with a clumsy but tender rhythm. The baby's cries begin to soften. The wails turn to whimpers, and finally, into a quiet sleep. He looks at Eliza, and for the first time, she sees the deep kindness in his eyes. He has not judged her or questioned her ability to mother. He has simply found a way to help. A few days later, Eliza is sitting on the porch, holding the other twin. She is watching Caleb mend a broken fence post, his strong back a testament to his hard labor. As she watches, her gaze falls on the small, broken toy horse that lies in the dirt, a single wooden wheel having broken off. She remembers that her daughter's father made this toy for them. It is a symbol of a time before the cruelty, a forgotten memory of a different kind of love. She looks up at Caleb, his face grim and concentrated. She doesn't know why, but she feels an urge to see that toy fixed. She puts the sleeping baby in the cradle and walks over to the horse, picking it up and examining the damage. Caleb stops his work and watches her, a silent question in his eyes. She brings the broken toy to his workbench and lays it down. She then points at it, then at the horse's broken wheel. She makes a small, helpless gesture with her hands. Caleb looks from her to the toy. He takes it in his hands, his face a mask of concentration. He pulls out a small knife, and with a careful, precise touch, begins to whittle a new wheel. It takes him time, his calloused fingers clumsy with the small object. Eliza watches, fascinated. He is not a builder of toys, but a man of strength and practicality. Yet, he is doing this for her children. He is building something new from something broken. Her heart, a cold, hard stone of grief and fear, begins to soften. She sees that this man is not just a rescuer, but a builder. He is not just giving them shelter, but building a home. The sun is setting, painting the sky in warm hues of orange and red. Caleb sits on the porch, a silent sentinel, his eyes watching the horizon. He has been working all day and is covered in dust. Eliza emerges from the house. She is carrying a small tin cup filled with hot coffee. She walks over to him, her movements hesitant. She holds the cup out to him. Her gaze, for the first time, meets his. She doesn't speak, but her eyes say it all. Thank you for everything. He takes the cup from her, his large hand wrapping around the small one. A brief but powerful moment of contact. He nods, a silent acknowledgement of her kindness. As he sips the coffee, the first words she has spoken to him ring in the quiet air. Eliza, whispering, "Thank you." The words are a whisper, but they are the sound of a heart beginning to heal, a soul finding a voice. The silence between them is no longer one of fear, but of a quiet, growing trust. The ranch has settled into a peaceful, quiet rhythm. The sun rises over the horizon, casting a warm light on a world that finally feels safe. Eliza sits on the porch, holding one of the twins, while the other sleeps soundly in a cradle nearby. She is humming a low, wordless lullaby, a melody of quiet contentment. Caleb is working in the corral, his movements strong and purposeful. They are a family, not by blood, but by choice, and the sense of peace between them is almost palpable. But the serenity is an illusion, a fragile thing built in the face of a storm yet to come. A cloud of dust on the horizon signals the approach of two riders. Caleb, his back to them, senses their arrival. He stops his work, a deep sense of foreboding settling over him. He turns, and his face hardens. It is the brother-in-law, his cruel face twisted with rage and humiliation, and another man, a hired hand, riding beside him. They are here for revenge, to reclaim what they believe is theirs. Caleb walks slowly from the corral to the porch, his eyes never leaving them. Eliza, sensing the shift in the air, looks up. Her humming stops. She clutches her baby tightly, her heart pounding in her chest. The past has returned, and it has come for her. The brother-in-law dismounts with an arrogant thud, his eyes raking over the property with a hateful glare. He points a finger at Caleb, his voice loud and full of anger. "Brother-in-law, you think you can just come in and steal what's ours? I'm here to take her back. She belongs to this family." He takes a step towards the porch, but Caleb's voice, cold and quiet, stops him dead in his tracks. "Caleb, she doesn't belong to anyone, and this isn't your property. It's mine." His words are not a threat, but a statement of finality. He stands in front of Eliza and the children, a solid wall of righteous fury. The brother-in-law, emboldened by the presence of his hired hand, laughs, a cruel, bitter sound. He takes another step forward, his eyes fixed on Eliza. "Brother-in-law, come on, Eliza. This is your last chance. Come back with us before he finds out how worthless you really are." But this time, Eliza doesn't cower. The fear is still there, a ghost of her past life, but it is now overshadowed by a new, fierce courage. She has felt safety. She has felt kindness. She knows what love is, not what it's supposed to be. She stands up, the baby still in her arms, and steps out from behind Caleb. Her chin is high, her eyes fixed on her tormentor, a fire burning in them he has never seen before. "Eliza," her voice is clear and steady, "you are worthless. Not me, not my children. You have no claim on us. You never did." The brother-in-law is stunned into silence. He looks at her, the woman he had broken so completely, and sees a person he doesn't recognize. The hired hand shifts uncomfortably, sensing that this is not the easy intimidation he was hired for. Caleb looks at Eliza, a profound sense of pride and love in his eyes. She has found her voice, not through him, but through the safety he has provided. The brother-in-law, his face contorted in a mix of fury and disbelief, takes a step toward Eliza, his hand raised. But Caleb, with a speed that belies his size, steps between them. He grabs the man's arm, his grip a vice. His voice, Now a low, dangerous growl is all the warning he will give. Caleb, you are leaving now. You will never set foot on this land again. And if you ever show your face again, I will not be so kind as to simply send you away. Now get on your horse and ride. He shoves the man away, a powerful push that sends him stumbling backward. The brother-in-law, defeated and humiliated, looks at the unwavering strength of the man and the newfound defiance of the woman. He knows he has lost. He climbs onto his horse, his face a mask of rage, and rides away, the hired hand following close behind. The act ends with Caleb and Eliza standing together in the yard, watching them disappear into the distance. The threat is gone. The house is no longer just a temporary shelter, but a home they have defended together. The afternoon sun hangs low in the sky, washing the ranch in a soft, golden light. The dust from the confrontation has long settled. The yard, once a battleground, is now a scene of quiet, profound peace. Caleb and Eliza stand on the porch, watching the horizon, their hands brushing against each other's place. The air is no longer filled with tension, but with a new, unspoken question. What happens next? The future, once a terrifying and uncertain prospect, now stretches out before them, a blank canvas waiting to be filled. For the first time, they face it not as a necessity, but as a choice. They sit on the porch swing, its slow, rhythmic creak a gentle counterpoint to the quiet thrum of their hearts. The twin girls are sleeping soundly inside, their tiny lives a testament to the home they have found. Caleb turns to Eliza, his gaze earnest and vulnerable. The gruff, stoic exterior has softened, revealing the honest man he truly is. He takes her hand, his thumb tracing a path over her calloused knuckles, a silent acknowledgement of her strength. Caleb, Eliza, when I first saw you, I just saw a woman in trouble. My only thought was to get you out of there, give you a place to catch your breath. He pauses, his gaze dropping to their joined hands, a symbol of their unexpected connection. Caleb, but this last week, this place, this life, it's not a sanctuary anymore. It's a home. And it's home because you and the girls are in it. I can't imagine this place without you. I don't want to. His voice is raw, with a sincerity she has never heard from any man. He looks at her, his eyes holding a promise, not of rescue, but of a shared future. He is no longer just a protector. He is a partner, a man laying his heart bare. Eliza's eyes fill with tears, not of sorrow, but of overwhelming love and gratitude. She looks at the man who saved her, who gave her a home, who gave her a voice, and sees not just a rescuer, but the man who has brought light back into her life. Her past, a shadow she has lived under for so long, finally feels distant, a memory she can face, not a reality she must endure. She squeezes his hand, her own confession waiting to be told. Eliza, I came here so I could breathe. I thought I just needed a place to be safe, but you didn't just give us safety, you gave us a family. You gave me back a piece of myself I thought was gone forever. I don't just need you, Caleb, I love you. The words, a confession of love she never thought she would speak, hang in the air, a final, beautiful affirmation of their bond. He smiles, a slow, deep smile that reaches his eyes, and pulls her into a gentle, heartfelt embrace. It is a hug of two people who have found their home in each other, who have turned a brutal, random act of kindness into a conscious choice of love. The sun has set, and the first stars are beginning to appear. The porch light glows with a warm, inviting light. Caleb sits in a rocking chair, one of the girls asleep on his lap, a small, trusting hand resting on his rough, calloused finger. Eliza sits beside him, the other girl in her arms, her head resting on his shoulder. They are a family, a new, unconventional family built not on blood, but on protection, kindness, and love. The ranch is no longer a place of solitude or a sanctuary from the storm. It is a home, a final, peaceful refuge, where a man who wanted to be alone has found his greatest joy, and a woman who had lost everything has found a new beginning.